right. Um, Megan, is there anything you want to share I mean, that a highlight of your week before we
Um, I can't even remember the week.
they go by they go by so fast, and as we trudge through, the weeks just go by fast, and it's the years. Sorry, the weeks can seem like they go by slow, but when they're gone, it's like what happened? And then the years go by so fast. So yeah. Do you want me to share something that you wrote here? And then we can,
Yeah,
all right, let's see. You're getting better at stopping and responding versus stopping and reacting. So that's good. You're rebuilding your brain, and it takes a lot of practice. Remember the rule of 20. We've got to practice something 20 times before it becomes even a partial habit. So good job. How do you feel about that?
yeah, good.
Um,
Yeah, good.
how did it feel when I said good job?
Yeah, good.
So,
Finally doing something right.
okay. It's okay for adults to tell children or other adults, good job. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But what is better is how do you feel about that? Like, are you proud of yourself versus me telling I'm proud of you, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And so
Yeah,
that's something, here's a strategy. That's something we want to do for our kiddos is we can say good job, that's fine, nothing wrong with it, but that's praise. And we can overpraising is not a good thing. But when we say, how do you feel about that? Are you proud of yourself? It highlights a whole different part of the brain, and it's a behavior that they want to repeat for themselves because it felt good for themselves. Okay, there's the first strategy. Did you catch that? Um, mm, ah, what's the professional? It's not grandma. Is it
nanny.
nanny? Both nanny Karen, nanny Sue. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay. So hopefully you all felt that that one was pretty cool. Um, all right. So do you have the spreadsheet in front of you, Megan?
No.
Okay, that's okay. I will just um read what we have here. Another win. So you were cooking with Maddie. You stopped and refocused on not saying, don't do that. Look at you go. What did
Yeah,
you,
very hard.
yeah, what did you say instead of no, don't?
Um, can't quite remember, but I was like, just stop for a second, and we'll just, try to do it this way.
Okay.
Can you do it? Right. So yeah, because he was gonna burn himself. So
Mm,
I was just like, stop, and we'll refocus. And
okay.
he's like, he loves it. He loves it.
Awesome. So you're cooking more with him. Amazing.
Yeah.
Um, Let me just write that. And you did say stop, which is okay, but you followed up with what to do next. You didn't just say
Yeah.
stop and kind of leave it at that. You followed up with what to do next, and your voice was kind, or your tone was kind, and it helped his
Yeah.
brain stay thinking and not go into fight or flight too.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Um, Let me just ask first. Okay, we're okay. So your youngest didn't want dinner, but wanted chocolate. He didn't like it, but you stuck to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, because every time we go back on our word, our children learn to not trust us and can't believe us, right? So it's so important that when we say something, we follow through. So amazing. Um, what were your words? But you stuck, like, what were his words when he said, I don't want dinner, I want chocolate? What did he say?
No, full. I was
Oh,
like, okay. And then he got up and he's like, chocolate. I said, we can't have chocolate. You didn't eat your dinner, darling. You've still got all your dinner.
mhm.
Oh. I said, I'm sorry, darling.
Okay. And he didn't, was that he, what did he do? Did he just go, oh, okay, mom, and walk away? Or what did he do?
He was just grumpy,
What does that look like?
um, crossed arms, droopy face kind of thing. Like he's like, oh, sad. I'm like, you can have some dinner and then you can have some chocolate. No.
Um, I think that's great. It doesn't sound like you forced dinner because we don't want to force eating. Um, did you, um, have I shared my own strategy around plates with you yet?
I don't know.
Share it again. And if you don't like it or if it doesn't feel comfortable for you, you don't have to use it, of course. Okay. So,
Yeah.
um, and this only works for children who don't have any food trauma because I'm a foster mom, right? So I have to be really careful how we deal with food. Um, and on that note, I invite all of us to really rethink how we think about food, anyways. My mom is a cancer survivor and she's a cancer coach and for weight loss because when women go through all that treatment, they their bodies are just go through havoc. And she has to coach them to not finish their plates because
Okay.
they have been conditioned from childhood, you have to finish your plate. And now, they're adults and they still have that feeling and they are not healthy anymore from all the drugs that they've had to go through for chemo. And so she has to reshape their brain to not finishing their plate. It's okay to leave. It's okay to have dessert before dinner is done. It's okay to leave room. So it's just something to maybe noodle um, on how we want to rethink eating. But what we did with our family is it's always great for kids to serve themselves. If
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah.
okay, that way. And did you do the tummy check-in?
No, I forgot that one.
It's okay.
Tummy tucking.
Yeah, write that down. Um,
Oh.
um, and so doing the tummy check-in and then serving themselves, giving them as much control, and then you can say you can put a limit, you can say, or an expectation, you can say, you can serve yourself, but you have to get one tablespoon or teaspoon of at least everything. So even if they get a spinach leaf this big, that's okay. Like we're teaching a skill here, and they'll be successful eating that one spinach leaf or whatever the vegetable is they may not enjoy, right? So that worked really well for my kiddo. It works really great for my kiddos. And eventually I could put a handful of spinach on everyone's plate, even my foster son, and he would eat it all up. And so here is the plate strategy. What we did is we gave, they served themselves and then they never had to eat any of it. Truly, they got to be their own boss of their food. But if they wanted more of something, I would say, oh, your plate's not ready. Your plate's not ready for more food. And I didn't make it a personal thing. Their plate just simply wasn't ready. They didn't have to eat it, but does that make sense?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
so
writing down.
yeah, and so they'd be like, oh, and then they'd finish their plate and then they'd get the more food, whatever, blueberries or whatever the more desirable food is. But we want to start where they can be successful. So when we got my foster son, literally he had like spinach leaves this big, like one like, tooth size. But and it was just he had to be successful with finishing his plate so he could get more, right? So we started so tiny. So yeah, you're welcome. How does that strategy feel for you?
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. And then we'll just, tweak it as we go and if it doesn't work right away or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Let me, I'm actually going to make a post in the group about rethinking food because oftentimes we as people just repeat patterns passed down, cultural patterns, parent patterns, and we don't think about it. We don't think about the why. Is this absolutely necessary? And so maybe finishing plates isn't something that is necessary. And and how do we avoid the waste and how do we avoid the problems that come with that? Okay. I how does that feel, Nanas?
Feels good.
Okay,
Yeah.
a little different, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
And we also want to think about dessert. So, um, when we say you have to finish all this food to get dessert, what we're doing is we're placing all the desired behavior on the dessert, all the desire on the dessert. We've now placed the food in a lower position and we've raised the position of the dessert because we're saying you have to do this and then you'll get this. Does that make sense? So this has already
Yeah.
become an obligation. So now this is an obligation and that's the thing that we want. Um, I invite us to consider, I don't know where the idea came in that we needed to have dessert after every meal. Is that like ice cream after every meal or whatever? Do you have dessert after every meal or
Jonathan seems to think we have to have dessert every night. I'm like, no, we don't, mate. I
yeah,
said, you can have it on occasion.
I missed that last word.
Occasion,
Occasion,
odd
yeah,
occasion.
right. Um, so on occasion, that is a very flexible word, right? A very nebulous word. And so it's going to invite kids to be like, what? To have resistance against it or to question it. So, um, what I invite you to do is put a boundary on it, a limit on we only have desserts on weekends, so that there's no question of when they can have dessert. And when he asks, "Do we have dessert tonight?" You can say, "Oh, it's not a weekend." It's more helpful that way versus not tonight because it's not an occasion night. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. So berries are, do you guys have berries? Um,
Yeah, we've got some nice fresh fruit. I'll cut up a heap of fruit and they can
yeah,
have that.
yeah. So,
Don't mind that.
so I missed that last word. I'm so sorry.
But I don't mind doing that.
Right, but I would just put it on their plate with their food. I wouldn't even put berries as the higher desire word or thing. I would just put everything on their plate, their berries, their veggie, their protein, their fat, whatever you're gonna eat. But you're gonna start where they can be successful, where the spinach, the vegetables are just one little bite, so that they can get more berries if they want,
Yeah.
right? Um, okay. And you don't have to do any of that, of course. If you want to if you want to have dessert every night, like ice cream or something, or if you want to leave it more nebulous on occasion, you can totally do that. So these are just some ideas. Um, okay. Any questions, anybody?
No,
Okay.
Mom.
Um,
No, I'm right. I'm following so far.
next one is interrupting when talking. Um, I was just going back to the chocolate and just to make sure we covered it all. I think we did, so we're good. So, child interrupting when we're talking. I said to John that we need to be quiet so Daddy can hear and talk to the lady you were ordering food. He kept talking, and then you're doing this with your fingers, like stop talking,
Yeah,
right? All right,
yeah.
let's think about the function of the behavior. Let's go to that why. Why was he being disruptive? Because remember, all behavior, it's all communication. They're telling us something. So what was that? What's the word?
I think they were talking about something wrestling or something. I wasn't engaged in the conversation. But yeah, he just wanted to keep talking about it all.
To who?
Stephen.
Who's Stephen?
Yeah.
Who is Stephen?
Dad.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so he wanted to continue. Okay, what did Dad say? Um, what did Dad say to him
Well,
as he's
we both said the same thing. We both said the same thing.
to Jonathan?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You're
he
gonna have to be quiet now, buddy. Daddy, like, we've got to, so Daddy can, so he can hear and talk to the lady.
okay. And Jonathan just kept wanting to talk about the wrestling.
Yeah.
Was he doing it for attention? To have to be reminded over and over, or was he doing it because he was just so excited about talking to Daddy about wrestling?
Well, they'd been talking about it a while, majority of the car trip, so I don't know.
You don't know the function. Okay. Either way, we if he's just so excited about it and he doesn't want to stop because he's got his dad's full attention, like that's amazing. And he honestly doesn't want this lady in the microphone to take that away from him, right?
Yeah.
So as you're pulling up, you know, um, just saying, oh, I want it, and we want to validate. Remember, we always want to validate. So we could say something like, I can't wait to talk with you about this again as soon as I'm done ordering. But right now we got to push pause on our, on our lips or whatever. And let me order, and then we're going to talk about it again. Because Jonathan very well may have been so afraid that he wouldn't get his dad's attention again.
Okay, yeah.
And he just didn't want it to stop. And this is a positive attention, right? He's not seeking it in a negative way.
Yeah, that's right.
So just front loading that a little bit, maybe next time. Like next time you're going through a drive-through, before you get to the box, or if you're behind a car, you can say, "Oh, our turn's almost next." When we get to the box, we need to put our voices on pause, put a bubble in our mouth, or whatever. Um, it's always helpful when we're thinking about talking to give our kiddos something physical to do with their mouths. So a bubble in our mouth is a really helpful thing because it's, drop a bubble in your mouth just while I'm talking. It gives their body something to do because stop talking, that's in the negative, right? It's really hard to
Yeah.
just stay in that place, but giving something to do is helpful. Okay, so we're just gonna front load a little earlier next time and validate, right? So Dad, I'm just going to repeat because this is a new thing, right? So Dad's trying to order. Jonathan doesn't want it to stop. Dad just needs to make eye contact and say, oh, you want to talk about this, and I want to talk about this with you. We're not done. Let me order really quickly, and we'll talk about this some more, right? Let Jonathan know that he's going to have his dad back, right?
Yeah.
If that was the function. If Jonathan was trying to get attention in a negative way, just to be kind of ornery or whatever, then what I would do is was there any cars behind you?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. That's fine. If there's no cars behind you and Jonathan's just kind of pestering, I would just sit there and wait. When you have a bubble in your mouth, then I will order. And just wait.
Okay.
Because that's teaching him, okay, because he's seeking attention in a negative way, if that was the scenario, and you're not reinforcing that. You're just being patient and you're just saying, this isn't going to work, right? You're not saying that, you're just modeling that. You're letting him know that him trying to talk over you and you're trying to order, it's not going to work, and you'll wait. If there was someone behind you, so just so that I'm making sure I'm being clear, I'm talking about two different functions of behavior, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully everyone's understanding that, or I'm making that clear. So if he's seeking attention in a positive way, he just doesn't want to lose his dad's attention, we would deal with it how we talked before. If he's just kind of being ornery and wanting to seek attention in this negative way, we're going to deal with it a different way. So you're just going to wait. You're just be like, let me know when you're ready. Or actually, you can say, when you have a bubble in your mouth, I'll know you're ready, and then I'll order. So you can do.
Yeah.
If there's people behind you, we know we can't wait. So what I would do is I would just, yeah, if you can't order because of talking, I would just leave and go park and just sit there and wait if you can. If you're not late for something, or just go home. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you can't be respectful. I've asked you to stop talking. We're just gonna go home. You can do that. Um, Something that this is more kind of in the punishment realm, and it can work, is the time wasting. So it's not something I love to jump to right away, right? Because punishments, there's sometimes some unintended consequences with punishments. Um, but you can actually, it would fall into a consequence actually. But you can just, do you wear a watch?
Ah,
So
yes.
you can just say, I'm just gonna time how long you waste our time. And that's so, and that's how long, you'll need to wait to get your food when we get home. If you're able to order and he's still not being respectful, or if your husband's able to order and he's still not being respectful, you can just time it. And then when you get home, are you eating in the car or are you waiting
No, we. No.
you're waiting to get home?
Yeah.
Okay. Either way, if you were going to eat in the car or get home, you could be like, oh, you wasted 2 minutes of our time. You can wait 2 minutes and then I'll pass you back your food. And then you can be like, Maddie, thank you for being quiet when I was ordering when I asked you to. And then you guys can start eating. That's fine. That's gonna really show him that, oh my gosh, I really need to be quiet when I'm asked to be quiet.
But then he'll get upset and
That's true. And that's
doesn't.
okay.
That's like, so
Remember,
do we just let the time go and then give him the food if he gets upset?
oh yeah, our
Yeah.
children's feelings are not our job to fix. They can be upset about things. That's perfectly fine. He's dealing with his emotions, with how he feels about that, and it's fine. If he's screaming or crying, you can validate. You can say, "Yeah, when you waste the family's time, then that's your time is wasted, you know?" Um, if this is the first, I would say, "Oh, you wasted 2 minutes." I would say 2 minutes even if it was 5 minutes because it's gotta be successful. He's got to experience success in waiting, right? And he can't if he has to wait 10 minutes and you're already home, the lesson isn't close enough to the event. It's kind of lost. Okay.
Yeah.
So even though you're saying you wasted 2 minutes, unless he can see a time, I would even just make him wait 1 minute. This is
Yeah.
a new behavior. Um, unless that feels too inauthentic to you, Um, I wouldn't say, "Oh, it's only been 1:30." I would just, time it on your own watch and be like, "Oh, it's been 2 minutes. You waited, Jonathan. I wish that you would have waited at the box, but you couldn't do that, but you waited now, and you can do that, and here's your food. Maybe next time you'll be able to be quiet at the box. Enjoy." And you're off. Um,
Yeah.
how does that feel?
Yeah. Good. Would you do the same when, like, say, we're talking at home, like with family and all that, like having conversations?
Um, Same function. He's still the same function. He's still trying to get attention in kind of a negative way.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it you're trying to have an adult conversation with adults and he's just not allowing it? He wants to be in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's the alternative behavior that you want him to do? To go play with Maddie?
Well, if it's like like maybe to wait. Yeah,
Oh, so this is more of an interrupting thing.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is a whole new strategy. Are you ready?
Well, why
Okay.
not?
Why not? Um, and I think this is in the course too. And the reason going through the course is so important also is because even though I'm telling you this one time, it's not enough to change behavior, your behavior, right? But when you hear it multiple times over the coaching and when you read it, you're like, oh yeah, it activates your brain again. So I'm really glad that you're going through the course also. And I know it's a little tricky to keep up sometimes. Okay. I've tried many different ways to help kiddos not interrupt. And the most powerful, what have you tried?
I think I vaguely remember you doing one saying, "Hold my hand, and when I'm finished talking, then I'll give you my attention."
Mhm.
That worked for a little bit, but yeah, it just
Okay.
went out the window.
Okay, so that's the one I was going to share again. It just sounds like you need a practice session. So during a time,
Yep,
because it works consistently when it's practiced. It works with all my foster kids. It really does work. Let's just see where any gaps are. Um, so practice it in play, okay? Um, or in lower intense or lower energy environments where they can be successful. So and play is just the best. Do you play with them ever?
yep, yep.
Okay. So pull out, do they do dolls or stuffed animals?
Dinosaurs?
Okay, that's okay. Do you ever play family?
No.
Is it just kill, eat, death, blood? Yes.
Well,
Okay.
having boys.
Yeah. So, um, that's okay.
Right.
And fight, yes. Um, you could always try and bring a different scenario of play and see if they dig it. They might really like a new way to play. Um, so what you can say is, hey guys, so this could be, we're going to place you as a logical motivator, okay? So you could be like, guys, do you call them guys or boys?
Boys.
Boys. You could be like, I've been thinking, we I have about 5 minutes to play with you, and I'd love to play about interrupting. Do you guys have 5 minutes to play with me too? Right? They're gonna be like, yeah, because that's really high level adult words, right? Um, and you could be like, okay, we're gonna play. You could say, I need two kid dinosaurs and two adult dinosaurs. And just let them kind of go get the materials. And then you can just say, who remembers our family plan about interrupting? And hopefully the kiddos will be like, oh, we grab your hand, you know? And if they don't remember, then you can teach it again. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And you're doing so much good stuff with this little play scenario. You're teaching some skills, you're reminding of some behaviors, you're giving a lot of positive attention. They're practicing, and they're practicing in love, right? They're practicing in a way that all the brains are in thinking, hearts are open, they're able to receive because it's really hard to practice whenever they really have something to tell you, right? So we've got to back
Yeah,
up. Okay, um, where can this be successful? And so what I want to remind you to do is anytime they need to interrupt, especially in those lower key environments at the store, when it's not imperative that even if you can stop, your conversation with whoever and turn to them, use it as an opportunity to practice. Okay? Even if it's not super necessary, use those small moments to build that behavior. Does that make sense?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you're talking to someone and they come up and you can see them in your peripheral, right? Just give your hand out, and hopefully that'll be their cue to not start talking, but just to put their hand in your hand. Then you're going to give a little acknowledgement squeeze, right? Like I got you. Then you're going to let this person, and this, we have to do this because we're building a skill in the boys, right? You're going to let the person say like 2 more words, and you're going to be like, oh, excuse me, I just need to answer my son's question real quick, and turn to them. Thank you for waiting, Maddie. What do you need? You know what I mean? And you're going to thank him for that behavior and reward that behavior naturally, and just letting him. So, and if he needs you for something big, hopefully what he needs you for is just something tiny that you can help him with, and then turn right back to the person, because we want our children to understand, like, you're interrupting me and I need to get back to this. What, how can I help you? And then if it's something big that he needs, then you can say, oh, thank you for sharing that with me. I can help you as soon as I'm done with this conversation. Let me finish and I'll call you back. Right.
Okay.
So always let our kids know that we'll call them back to us, because that will prevent them from coming back and pestering again and again, because worrying that we forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm writing.
Yeah, Nana Sue, Nana Karen, how is all of this feeling?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because John does it a lot
Yeah, he does.
when we go to Karen's house and
Okay.
Mum's house, because he gets excited. So
And
yeah.
so if we just want to because yeah, we just want to be validating all the time. A lot of the time, that's really all our kids need. So, and everyone can do this. And that's awesome why you two other ladies are here, right? So everyone is doing this for him. And validating looks like, you know, you're so excited, we want to validate is just labeling what he's feeling. So you're so excited, tell me what you need, but after you've respectfully stopped this person for 2 words, come back and don't have a big conversation with him. We want to reward the behavior of him grabbing your hand, but we don't want to unintentionally reward him coming and just talking endlessly, right? So we can say something like, oh, what's something that he's so excited about? And I'll use that as an example.
Fishing, or the kid next door.
Okay.
Yeah. Or yeah, I can't really remember.
Okay. And
playing with other kids.
Okay. And does he need adult supervision to do that?
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
He's all right. Yeah.
Okay. And so he just wants to let you know that's what he's doing?
Yes. Yeah.
And so he wants to go, okay.
It's the kids next door.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that can be a really quick exchange. So he comes up, he's so excited. You can see his energy is really high. It's positive. You're going to put your hand out as a cue. He's going to grab it because you've practiced this. You're going to let this person say like 2 or 3 more words. You can be like, oh, respectfully, can I stop you there? I just need to answer this question. What, Maddie? Or what, Jonathan? Can I go? Is he saying, can I go outside and play? Is that kind of what he's going to ask?
Yeah, usually.
Okay.
Or go play with Jack or
So,
Mason or whoever it is.
honestly, in this situation, this is what I would say. Oh, can you see that I'm talking? What I would say is, can you see that I'm talking? I feel like you could ask another adult this question. Who could you ask? And then he's going to be like, oh, I could go ask Daddy or Nana or whoever. Is that possible?
Not really.
Okay, so he really needs to ask whoever he's interrupting, because there's no other adults around.
Yeah.
You'll be either at Mum's or Karen's.
Okay. So perfect. Then you can just say, he'll be like, can I go play outside? You could be like, and whatever parameters you can remind them, like, yeah, for 5 minutes, that's fine. Are you going to come in when I need you to? I always give that, front load that expectation. Reminder, are you going to come in when I need you to? Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. Love you. Bye. Thank you for being patient with me while I did that. You know, you're going to tell that person and then you're going to continue on.
Yeah.
That feel good? Okay. Kids, so much work. So much work. And reparenting. But anytime that our children, when they interrupt us, instead of answering the question that they're wanting, if there is someone else who can help them, just give that to them instead. Don't answer the question. You know,
Okay.
Yeah.
you want to think about what behaviors we're rewarding. And so you could say, oh, thank you for putting your hand in my hand. I feel like another adult could help you with this because I'm talking. Who could you ask? Papa or whoever. And then, you know, but if that's not possible, then that's okay. It's just thinking about that. All right. What else? Any other questions around that?
Is there any questions, Mum and Karen?
Yeah, what happens when Jonathan asks him if he can have something, or he's asked his mum and she says no, then he comes up and asks me.
Okay. All very common behavior. I would always validate mom and just
Yep.
ask, what did mom say? And if, have you tried that? What did mom say?
Yeah, I'll just say no, mum said no, so you know you can't.
So, okay, I would shift it to, what did mom say? And let him tell you. Okay.
Yep.
Leave it open-ended, let him tell you. And if he gives a little fib, don't call him a liar. We never want to call our kids liars or fibbers. Just be like, oh, interesting. Okay, let's go ask her. And he'll be like,
No.
yeah, he'll be like, and then you can say, would you like to, did you remember something different that mom said? You know, like, and let him be like, oh, yes, I remember. She actually said, no, I can't do that. So that gives him the benefit of the doubt. And then you want to reward the right behavior. So then you can say, I'm so glad your memory was right. I'm so glad that you remembered the right thing. Mom said it. Apparently you agree that mom says no. So what else are you going to do? Right? We always want to give that last piece of what else are you going to do?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
the brain can get moving forward.
Yep.
And if he doesn't know, he may need a little more support. So you can say, what else are you going to do? And then you can offer a choice. Are you going to color or go build blocks?
Yeah, fine.
Cool.
Always
Mum, you got any questions?
supported. Oh,
No, I'm on board. I'm on board. Keep going.
we always want to support mom and dad for sure. And the beautiful thing about there's so many amazing consequences that come with supporting mom and dad. It really just helps the kids know that everyone's a united front. And yeah, even if you don't agree, it helps the kids understand that they've got the kids back. You know, the kids aren't going to be successful with lying essentially, because when kids become super successful of like, mom said yeah, or mom said yeah, mom said yeah, and I hope I'm being clear. When everyone can support what mom and dad are doing, then it gives kids less avenue to be sneaky and lie. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, next one. Completing tasks. I'm assuming this is Jonathan. When he gets home from school, he takes his shoes off outside and empties the sand out. Fantastic. He gets out of his school uniform, then he gets his lunch bag and water out. He says, Mom, I know what I have to do. And I say, okay, and let him go. You checked back and the lunch bag and the water weren't done. You used an I noticed. And you said, I noticed that your lunch and water are still in your bag. And then you say, the next piece says, I've already done it. Okay, would you like to come and see? Oh, I thought I did it. He gets grumpy when I remind him. I'm not sure who was saying what completely.
Said no, I've done it, and I'm like, would you like to come and see? It's like still in your bag, kind
Okay.
of thing.
Perfect. So what we first want to recognize is when our kids get home from school, they have been told what to do, how to do it, where to do it, when to do it all day long, right? And so they're going to be looking for ways to assert their autonomy. And home is a much safer place to do that than at school. So we want to find places where we can give them some autonomy to just do what they want to do. So that's one piece, okay? Did you tell him when we get home, you need to take your shoes off and dump the sand out. You need to empty your or get out of your school uniform. You need to, you need to do all these things. Did you tell him to do all those things?
I said, remember your tasks you have to do.
Okay.
And he's like, yes, Mum, I know what I have to do.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's what I'm like saying. Like he's like gets grumpy with me if I remind him, but then he'll forget to do.
Right.
the
So
physical.
I'm going to shift your what you said wasn't bad. It wasn't bossy. You left it open-ended. You said, do you remember? Which is not bad at all. What I invite you to think about is saying, hey, let me know, what are the tasks when you get home? Let me know what your tasks are so that he tells you step by step by step what he needs to do.
Yeah.
And if he gets grumpy, you can validate that. If he's like, oh, I don't want to tell you, Mom, you can say, I hear that. And as your mom, I want to make sure that you have a clear picture in your head of what needs to be done. So do you want to tell me what you need to do? Or do you want me to tell you what you need to do? Do you want to be the boss or do you want me to be the boss? And I made a mistake there just now by offering the least preferred choice in the last position, right? So you want to say, do you want me to be the boss or do you want to be the boss? Or do you want me to tell you what to do or do you want to tell me what you want, what you need to do? You can offer these choices to him.
Yeah.
Okay. And so hopefully he says, well, I'm going to take my shoes off and then he'll just empty the sand out. I'll get out of my school uniform and is it that he needs to put his lunch away?
Yeah. So like, because he's got freezer things, so they need to go back in the freezer, and
Okay.
so I can empty his lunch bag out.
Okay. So when you've noticed it there and he's off playing, instead of saying, I noticed that your lunch and water isn't done, come do that, because that's going to interrupt him. What I would just say is, hey, Jonathan, come here. And he's leaving his play or whatever situation, and he's coming to you. And then you could say, what do you notice? What do you notice in this kitchen? In a playful way. And hopefully he'll be like, oh, my lunch. And he's telling you what he needs to do, right?
Yeah.
And eventually with this, like when my kids forget something, all I say is 360 kitchen, 360 kitchen. And that means, and they just run up, they go to the kitchen and they just turn because 360 is a circle. And they just like, what did I forget to do? Oh, and so I don't tell them anything to do. They own the whole process. I just say 360 kitchen and they get to be their own boss completely. So you're not quite there yet. Sue, did you have something to say?
No.
Okay. Your screen lit up.
Oh.
Just to repeat that again, if you notice something he needs to do, don't call to him and say, hey, you forgot the thing, right? Just say, Jonathan, come here. I have a question for you, right? So you're going to pique his curiosity, get him away from that environment and just say, what do you notice here? What do you notice? And then you can be playful. You could say something like, I noticed that you need a kiss on your cheek. Mwah, right? Like get him playful. And then you could say, what do you notice in this kitchen? And he, hopefully in that little playful moment, he'll be really open to see that he didn't finish a task.
But what if he's like, oh, I don't know.
Do you think that's true? Or do you think that that's not true?
It's a possibility.
Okay, then narrow it down. What do you notice on this cabinet, on this countertop? right?
Yeah, okay.
And then you could be like, what do you notice by the pot or whatever? You can narrow it down to help him be successful.
Yeah, okay.
Good question. Yeah. If he's not ready to look around, because he's 5, he's 6.
5, yeah.
5. So yeah, give him a more opportunity to be successful. You just ask a notice by, what do you notice by the pot? And keep your heads up or keep your eyes up and let him own noticing. Because if you're like, there, then he's gonna feel more resistant to prove
Yeah.
you wrong. But don't even look like, I would actually say, what do you notice by the pot? And I would turn around and start doing dishes or whatever. Like, don't hover at all. Let him own noticing, because if it's inviting contention, and it's inviting, like, I didn't notice anything, you know what I mean? But if you're not even watching, then there's no eyes to meet to fight with, right?
Yeah. So could I say, what's not on, like, where it goes? I said, what goes here? What's supposed to go here? Could I say something like that?
What's the thing?
That's where his lunch bag and that goes.
Yeah, you can, like, after he's emptied it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
yeah, hopefully, because it's momentum. So hopefully he takes care of it, takes the stuff out and puts it on the hook or wherever it goes, right?
yeah.
Does he know where it goes? Is this something that he can do independently?
He does, like, but because he is rushing to get
Mhm.
off to what he wants to do, he
Okay.
kind of rushes.
Okay, what you can do, because we want to keep ourselves out of bossy pants, right? The less we tell our kids what to do, the more they can do well for themselves. And if we tell him, hey, you need to put that over there, they're not learning anything because
Yeah.
we took complete control. So what I would suggest is, you say, I notice, or what do you notice by the pot or whatever it is? And then you turn and let him just notice and fix it. And then you can say in a playful way, I wonder if the lunchbox will be put on the hook or not. Because he's 5. Kids love that playfulness. So you're not telling him, go put the lunchbox on the hook. Do you remember where it goes? He knows, right? Like, he knows. So you could just be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if that lunchbox will be back on the hook soon. Just give a little reminder, give him some benefit of the doubt, and let him do well on his own.
Yeah.
Because if you tell him, put your lunchbox on the hook, he can't do well on his own.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Nanas, how does that feel?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah, it's the more we tell kids what to do and how to do it, where to do it, when to do it, they don't learn very much from that. So you're going to have to remind them over and over and over. So the less you can say and the less you can do for them and give that to them to do well on their own as much as possible, then they learn. Then that becomes a pattern in their brain. Right. Let's see. Oh, and he gets grumpy when you remind him. So, is he the type of kiddo that was like, Mom, I was playing on this, you guys have a Stitch?
Switch. Yeah.
Switch, sorry, I forget what it's called. Mom, I was playing on the Switch. Can I do the lunch after? I would say, you get to decide, but make it the same every day. So I honestly would hold that expectation and be like, I love how you say darling. I never say that, so I'm going to say that. No, darling. lunchbox first, and then, whatever you want to do. Let me know when you have it done and walk away or walk to the other side of the
Yeah.
kitchen. Don't hover. Don't be like, are you going to listen? Just hold that. No, we put lunch boxes away first so that the countertop is nice and clear so that I can cook dinner. Let me know when you've put it away, and then leave him to his own devices and, stay close, but you're not hovering. Is that
Yeah.
a clear picture in your head, or is that confusing?
No, yeah, I get that.
Okay. So you say here again, he gets grumpy when you remind him. So yes, kids will get, kids will get grumpy. If we can do less reminding, that would be great. Give them more power and control. But if they get grumpy, that's okay. Okay. Do you have a problem? Do you struggle with your kids getting grumpy?
They always get grumpy.
What?
They always get grumpy.
Okay. But you don't feel like it's your responsibility to fix that grumpiness.
No.
Okay. Good, because it's not. We often, as parents, feel obligated to fix feelings, and that's not our job. We want our kiddos to share their feelings.
Yeah.
So, what if our kids are grumpy, if they're not too grumpy, if they're still able to be in their thinking head, right? Have we talked about flipping lids yet?
Yes.
Okay,
I've tried to introduce it, but
it's okay.
it's just not working.
Just
I'm gonna keep trying.
yeah, keep trying. So, and you can model it for yourself. Don't you just model it anytime for yourself. So, if they're still in thinking mode, right? And they're feeling a little grumpy, you can say, like, if he's grumpy that he has to leave the switch, you could say, oh, you were having fun. What are you going to play after you get this done? What are you going to play after? You can get his mind forward thinking, right?
Yeah.
This is letting him kind of stew in misery and like, oh, she brought me away from that or whatever. So you can just get his mind thinking. If he's way too far gone in real anger, sometimes offering a choice or that cannot be helpful. Sometimes it's helpful. So you'll just have to kind of offer and then notice, oh, not helpful. He just needed me to be present with him and not get his brain moving forward. But oftentimes when our kids are just mildly grumpy, if we're intact and if they're intact, then we can offer, what are you going to do after? Are you going to go back to that same game? We can get their brains moving forward. Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's like a fire hose every time, but it's you're still learning so much and you're applying it when you can, and that's perfect enough. So out of everything I shared today, what was the most powerful thing that you were most excited about trying?
The interrupting
Okay.
and like the food.
The plate.
Yeah, and like respecting, like if we're talking, like to like wait and yeah, gotta give that a go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nana Sue, what was your biggest, if you don't mind sharing, what was your biggest takeaway or the thing that resonated the most or that you want to try?
I'd just like to say that I think Megan's doing a wonderful job.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan's quite a robust, he's a boy, he's a true boy in every word, but like he gets super excited about something.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think that's what she's dealing with, when he gets super excited like that, she's got to like bring him back down a little bit to actually get through to him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But I had them today, and I was like, he threw a whole box of Lego out, and then him and Maddie both sat down to do it. And then I said to John, they were both going to go outside with me out the back to play. And I said, okay, John, you know that the blocks are there. They have to be picked up. He said, yeah, okay, Nan, or something or other. And I said, I knew that he wouldn't do it, but then 10 minutes later or whatever it was, I said, oh, I noticed that the blocks were still on the floor, John, you know. And I said, I wish you would pick them up for your Nan.
Mm-hmm.
And I just let him go. And then about 5 minutes after that, he actually came in here and picked them all up and put them away. So I thanked him. I said, thank you for picking those blocks up for Nan. Very, you know, I thought that it was very, you know, I think we're all getting through to him somehow. I don't know, but it was good. It was really good today to see.
Yeah, you said all things that you said were, true. Megan's doing a great job. And
Yeah,
we are building in some better behaviors before behaviors get a little worse.
yeah,
Because he's getting older and older, and things can get harder and harder, especially when academic pressures come in.
yeah,
So just building more trust, more cooperation right now is just so essential. Yeah, and I love that he picked up the blocks. For you, what I would offer to you on that note is just when he does something good like that, really highlight that. And you said thank you, you said thank you. That was really helpful.
I did. I actually thought I better go and thank John for picking those up for me. So no, I was just astonished, really.
I would just take it one step further and think about the goal that we're going for. And so I would say that was so mature and responsible. And I only asked you one time and you did it.
Yeah.
Wow. Like you're really growing in your brain, really highlight that intrinsic motivation for him so that he's like, yeah, I'm a pretty good kid. I'm a pretty good kid that does things the first time. So, highlight that goodness in him, which is so important, especially for kiddos who are corrected a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got to get that balance, but we don't want to dip into praise. Praising, we want to keep encouraging, and that's where we have those high level behaviors. You're so mature, and you're such a good model for Maddie. You're such a big brother, and you're so helpful to the family. All those are really encouraging words versus you're so smart. You're so I'm so proud of you that you did this for me, right? Those are more praising. And so we can talk about the problems with praising too much at another time, but we just want to differentiate praising from encouraging.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for sharing all of that.
No worries.
Yeah. Nana Karen, what was your biggest takeaway today?
More their feelings. If they can't have something or they want to do something and they can't, if it's too dark or something like that or too late, if they get upset, that bothers me. So I just want to cuddle them and all that. So I've learned that it's okay for them to be upset. And try, rather than I'm a sort of a parent that does everything for the kids, and I've got to learn to teach them to do things for themselves. Yeah. That's why my daughter-in-laws complain about their husbands.
Yes, exactly.
30 years later, they're still doing it.
Yes. Love that awareness. Amazing. And yeah, when our kids are upset, we can offer a hug. It's not like we need to be like, yep, you need to deal with your feelings. We don't need to do that. We can just be like, oh, you're kind of mad about not getting to go outside. That's okay. Do you want a hug? Or do you want to go do blocks? You can offer a hug. But we want our kiddos to know that feeling upset is an okay thing. They
Yep.
don't shove it down and put it in their pocket. We want our kids to express their feelings for sure. And we can help them get unstuck from there too.
Yep.
So yeah, don't feel like you have to not give a hug or anything, but we can validate, oh, I wish the sun would just come back. Ugh,
Yes.
goes down and doesn't listen to me at all. As Nana Karen, I command the sun to come back. It doesn't listen. We can be playful and bring our kids back out of, their lower brain of sadness and stuff like that. So,
Yep.
all right. This was fun, super fun. Any last minute questions, Megan?
No,
No?
I'm all good.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, I will let you ladies have a wonderful evening. I'm going to go wake up my daughter for school over here on the other side of the world. So, and we'll chat later, okay?
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Thank you.
you.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.